The Settings tab of the Toolspace is where you control all of the program and drawing settings and defaults for Civil 3D. For example, in the Surfaces collection, you can see that there are surface styles. These control the display of the surface objects. The label styles allow you to label the surface and create annotation for the surface. The table styles and command settings allow you to set all of the defaults for all of the commands that are available to use with surfaces. This is a classic example of the same settings that you will have throughout the Settings tab for all the other Civil 3D objects that you see in the list. The Settings tab works off of a hierarchical tree. This means that settings you create for the upper levels of the Settings tab affect settings that are lower down in the tree. For example, right-click the drawing name at the top of the list and select Edit Drawing Settings. The Edit Drawing Settings dialog box appears. Within this dialog box are the settings that will impact the entire drawing. For this exercise, you will only look at the items in this dialog that directly affect any styles or settings in the Settings tab. On the Object Layer tab, the default layer that objects are created on can be set. By adding a modifier to the layer, you can place each object on its own layer. For ease of object management, best practice would be to set modifiers of dash asterisk or asterisk dash on the following layers: alignment, profile, tin surface, and tin surface labeling. Lastly, in this tab, you should always enable the option Immediate and Independent Layer On-Off Control of Display Components at the bottom. This gives you both object layer and style layer control of your objects when you Xref this drawing into another drawing. Close the Drawing Settings dialog. The next level of the tree in the Settings tab is under the drawing name itself. Scroll down to Surface and right-click it. Select Edit Feature Settings. The Edit Feature Settings dialog box opens. Here are the same settings for distance that you had in the Ambient Settings under Drawing Settings. The difference here is that these settings only apply to the surface objects. If you make a change here, only the surface objects will be affected and not other objects such as points or alignments. Notice the icons that are different in the Edit Feature Settings dialog box. The icons that look like a surface designate that these settings are unique to surfaces only. You will not find them in the drawing settings or in any other object within the Settings dialog, other than surfaces. For surfaces, those items are default styles, contour labeling defaults, and surface defaults. Click Cancel to close the Edit Feature Settings dialog box. To gain even more control of surfaces, expand surfaces and expand commands, and then right-click Add Surface Boundaries to access the individual command control for this specific action. The Edit Command Settings dialog box opens. It looks very similar to the Edit Feature Settings dialog box. The icons are very similar to what you just saw, but notice the box with check marks. This icon indicates that this item is specific to this command. To see this better, expand the Add Data Options command. These are the specific controls when adding a surface boundary that will appear in the dialog box during this command. This is where you set the default settings for that command. This can be extremely helpful when you're performing the same function over and over. You can preset some of the dialog boxes to always start with specific settings through the object commands. That way you're not always configuring the same settings over and over. Understand that the lower you navigate in a tree, the more specific you can be for which particular settings are applied to which objects and how they are created. If you want to make far-reaching changes that apply to the entire drawing, you must choose from the top of the list above the drawing name. Now that you have thoroughly explored objects, layer placement for objects, and object commands, it is time to focus on object styles. Close any dialog boxes that may be open. In the Toolspace on the Settings tab, expand Surface and Surface Styles. Under Surface Styles, you can see a list of all the styles that are in the drawing. Notice the styles that have the upper triangle icon next to them. This indicates that those styles are currently in use in the drawing and cannot be deleted from the styles list. This icon also applies to label styles. If you expand the label styles and contour, you can see that some label styles for contours are in use as well. To create a new surface style or a new label style, right-click the Object Style header for object styles, or right-click anywhere under the Label Style header for label styles, and select New. Alternatively, you can find a style that is similar to what you want to create, right-click the style name, and select Copy. Then you must rename your new style, as you can never have a duplicate named style of any type in Civil 3D. As you can see, there are many settings available on the Settings tab. You can configure all of this information to your exact needs within Civil 3D. And to simplify things, once you have the settings configured properly, you can save them in a drawing template. Then you can use the drawing template to begin your new drawings with all your preferred settings already configured.